Howdy guys and girls, welcome back to Tater Plays, and today I'm going to be calling BS on the Bedini free energy motor. There's no source of free energy, guys and girls. The reason that there's no source of free energy is because all energy that ever was and will be is in play right now. Now, you can create energy, but that requires a catalyst, and most generally the catalyst is where you lose energy from, because you have to use kinetic to turn potential into kinetic energy, etc., etc. It's a big cycle. But there is no such thing as free energy. 0-point energy may be a possibility in the future. There is a motor that I'm going to look at after this one, because I've got to go over this video, man. Number one, the guy that's presenting it is trying to seem smarter than what he actually is. Even though I do like the guy, he didn't take a look at both videos that he showed in his video and then tell exactly what was going on. Instead, he went biased. He liked the one that he wanted to be true, and he disliked the one that he didn't want to be true. Now, if you're thinking that I'm taking up for Mythbusters, I am not. I do not like those guys. They suck. But there is a thing that they did on this video which actually accentuates. They kind of took it into overdrive on accentuating that there is no free energy from this motor, because they didn't even do the schematics correctly. But then again, neither did the MIT guy working out of his garage, which is kind of messed up. What's up, Brown? Ooh, over 400 a month. Jesus, Roland, that's a lot. So what was that guy's name? I can't remember the guy's name. That was the video that we're going to be doing. Give me a second. I'll figure out his name right quick. Let's see. His name is Rob Ellis. I actually like this guy. He's got a lot of good stuff. He does. So it's not a disrespect thing or a dislike thing against Rob Ellis, you know. It's just he's not showing you everything. He's not telling you everything. There's a truth seeker. I've got to tell you everything. Even if I don't know something, I'll tell you I don't know it, you know. But for the designs, man, neither one of the videos got the designs correct, although the designs are still flawed and you're not going to get free energy out of it. But hey, let's go ahead and go into the video. Here we go.
It's said that the genius can take the complicated and make it simple, and that the idiot takes the simple and makes it complicated. I want you to take a look at this for yourself and see which of these two individuals is the genius and which one's the idiot.
What is next?
The Bedini motor.
The Bedini motor. You know, the Bedini motor is like the holy grail of the free energy freaks.
Hey everybody, Jeff Williams here with AskJeffWilliams.com.
MIT's Dr. Geo Holmesy has been helping the guys by assembling the contraption. And with his pedigree, they're quickly in business.
Free energy, man. Here we go.
So what we did is we decided to download the blueprints to the Bedini motor and try to build one ourselves here in the shop.
It couldn't be simpler. A battery drives a motor which spins up a flywheel, which charges wire coils, which in turn recharge the battery. And bingo, a perpetual motion or over unity machine.
Now, let's clarify what over unity and perpetual motion is. Perpetual motion is not the same thing as over unity. Perpetual motion machines can be actually created through a closed loop where you're not losing any electricity. This is what fools everybody about free energy. As soon as you open that loop and start draining from a perpetual motion machine, if you try to charge your iPhone, if you try to charge, think about it, if you try to charge the batteries for your remote off of a closed loop circuit, you're therefore opening the loop to drain it, which means it's no longer perpetual motion. It's a drained circuit. Okay. Take, for example, I have this right here. If I set this between two little cylinders, or I can't think of the name of it, but if I set this between two little springs, I could probably get it to go back and forth quite a while just doing that. But if I poked a hole in the bottom of it and the liquid was slowly draining, there would be no more liquid. What would happen? There would be no more energy, because the liquid is representing the energy in that effect. So a perpetual motion, that's not the thing that you want. Over unity is what you actually want, but over unity is impossible due to resistance. Over unity is where you get over 100% efficiency. ASP. You cannot get over 100% efficiency. The reason that you cannot do this is because of resistance or friction. Hey. Oh, that's okay, Jill. Sorry, I didn't know it was that late over there, darling. But we're going back to the video now.
It's important to keep an open mind and realize that all the principles that drive the over-unity machines operate outside of everything you've ever heard about science.
No, they don't.
See if there's any truth to this thing, as far as charging batteries, and some of them even claim to have over unity, if you understand what that is. So we got the blueprints, put it together, and voila, it does seem to work.
Activate the modulator.
Modulator activated.
A modulator switches the motor on and off, so preserving power while the flywheel keeps on spinning, in theory, replenishing the battery.
Okay, it's spinning up.
And here it is, in a nutshell. We're running 2 coils, and here's our...
I know you want to take a look. I know you guys want to see this contraption. You've got 2 coils, and they're both at north, which is pushing the little machine on the wheel on the bearing right there. And there's magnets inside that wheel. Now the magnets are pushing the wheel. If you look right below it, you'll see cables that are connected. That is where the actual electrical loop is going through the circuit. The magnets in the wheels is something extra. That is what's supposed to be driving the crankshaft on the Bedini motor, because you're supposed to have a crankshaft through the center of that wheel with the magnets going north. and then you get the energy for the crankshaft from that. But when you add that wheel to the crankshaft, you therefore have resistance, and you lose energy because the wheel can no longer provide a stable amount of energy to turn that crankshaft. So this video is flawed right off the bat. Okay, because this design is not made the way it was supposed to be. There's supposed to be a crankshaft through that wheel, through the center of that wheel, right there.
Rotor in the center, and our circuitry is in the back. And the rotor is nothing more than a little scooter wheel that we bought at Big 5. And then we put our magnets here in the end.
I can hear it getting slower.
Yeah, it seems to be.
I don't think I need
See, this one,
a meter for this one.
In a sudden burst of free energy, the Bedini machine runs
Sounds
down.
like my grandfather.
Oh, getting sick. It's draining more from the battery on each cycle than it's putting back in when it recharges.
That's the one big problem with perpetual motion machines. They're not perpetual.
Over unity, huh?
That's an efficiency of over 100%.
Kind of.
okay. Now, you just seen the crankshaft one, right? The crankshaft one had no magnets, which would be the actual thing driving the crankshaft instead of just a plain old flywheel. Okay? So they took the magnets out of it, therefore taking potential energy out of the equation. Therefore their schematics was incorrect also.
It makes you feel all warm and fuzzy inside, don't it?
If you mean it makes me feel like I feel about the Easter Bunny or Santa Claus, yeah, that kind of warm and fuzzy, because it's a fantasy!
In the front here, you've got your two transistors, one for each coil, and of course the potentiometer, which acts like a throttle gate. Then over here, you've got your two lead-acid batteries. One's primary, and one's a secondary or a charger. Over here, you can see our voltmeters. This is for the charger. We're running 12.21, and it's still climbing, as you can see. It's trying to climb up to 2.2, and then it'll keep going up.
You just seen it drop back to 2.1 right there. It's going to fluctuate between 2.1 and 2.2 due to loss through resistance of the wires. And it's going to keep doing that because it's in a closed loop, guys. This is closed loop. There's no crankshaft that is supposed to be turning, which would add resistance to the factor. If you did put a crankshaft through the center of the wheel with the magnets on it, then resistance would cause him to lose a whole lot more electricity. Probably wouldn't even be able to turn it, to be honest.
Up past that. Our primary battery has been sitting at 12.14 and has been doing so for most of the day.
Because it's a closed loop.
So, in essence, yes, it does work. In order to build this little guy, though, it's really not that complicated.
So the lesson that I take from this video is that you can't trust national or international media to tell the truth about anything that could have a real financial repercussion on the global system. And you can't trust a professor from MIT to tell the truth about energy systems that could change the way that we get energy ourselves.
Okay, what I take from this
It's said that the genius
Whoa.
can take...
Calm down there. Oh, okay. That's 13 talking to SP. He thought SP done got abducted by aliens. What's up, SP? Yeah, I moved into science fact, man. I'm still going to be on the fray, though, because if you look at the bottom right, you'll see the name of it is Science on the Fray. And also, I just spotted something that I messed up on, man. See, this whole time, this chat was supposed to be connected to Tape Plays, but it was connected to Stranger Than Fiction. Oh, man. I done messed that up. It's like 15 minutes into the video too, dude. Damn. But yeah, I'm calling this one Science on the Fray because I'm going to take fringe science and break it down and see if it's plausible. The number one thing that's going around the internet right now is the free energy motors and generators. And I figured I would break it down and tell people exactly why they will not work. Now, there is one that is possible of working called the Cyril Generator. S-E-A-R-L generator. We're going to get into that one here in a minute. And that's going to be interesting because it takes electrons from the atmosphere. But with this one, there's also the same resistance problem. You're not getting 100% efficiency out of Cyril. You're not getting 100% efficiency out of any of these free energy motors, which is what you want. You want actually more than 100% efficiency, which is called over unity. And to get over unity, it's not possible. So, here we go. We're going to go to the Cyril motor, or the Cyril generator, which I think you guys will love. This one just uses magnets alone. Alright. Well, I'm going to have to grab this guy. Boop. Boom. Now this one's going to have a fun little film to it. What's up, 13 Sharks? I'm looking over every 2 to 3 minutes and reading the chat over here, so it may take me a minute. Now this, I'll probably get copyrighted on, but it's closer to free energy than the other one was, because the other one would require a crankshaft. The crankshaft, which was supposed to be setting on the spindle with the rotor that had the magnets on it. The magnets were supposed to be what's pushing the crankshaft, and that's how you got the free energy. But with resistance, it's not going to work. You're still going to have the closed loop of electricity to your batteries, but your crankshaft will require a whole lot stronger magnets than what the guys built. Okay? You would need like magnets that you could move refrigerators with, and then you'd still have enough resistance to where you weren't getting free energy. That's why cars have an alternator on them. Yada yada. Okay. So, let's get back to this. This is the Cyril magnet, and it draws electrons out of the atmosphere. Tater, are you good at mechanics? Brown, actually, I'm decent. I pretty much know the principle behind motors. Before there was alternators, there was little battery packs under the battery, and that served as alternator reservoir for extra energy, which basically was a capacitor that was store and discharge, and that's in the real old 1940-50 models. But the alternator now, what it does is it picks up, magnifies, and spits back out. And the way it magnifies is it uses a coil system. Yeah, so we're going to go back to magnetic wave, electrons, and the Cyril motor. Let's get into this.
Changing the art of combusting to get energy, and thus producing pollution, to one that's natural, the absorbing of natural energy, compressing it, using it, and then letting it go. You burn nothing in the process. conventional motors, when you take more and more part, they get warm because obviously there's less electrons and they got more room to buzz around and put more energy, heating up to the point the motor sees up. In this case, as the electrons come out,
it's not really electrons that create some of the heat. I mean, it does create it, but there's also friction from mechanical parts. Hello, Angel. So you have a mixture of friction between atomic mass and electrons being displaced. So our motors that we use in our cars are actually very inefficient at current moment.
electrons are being drawn in, so it can't get hot. You've got a constant flow being drawn in. You start the flow moving, it keeps going and going, getting more and more stronger as you speed up. And once electrons start sensing a homing point, they all start heading in the surrounding to that point.
Okay, what he's trying to do is create basically a homing beacon for electrons to flow into an electrical circuit, and he uses magnets, but I'm getting ahead of myself, so let's go ahead.
So relatively speaking, it is positive here, negative out here. Air is ionized, the current draws in the back and center, and you have completed the circuit.
This is Amy, just one of an uncountable number of negatively charged electrons seeking a positive destination. She finds the positively charged neodymium core irresistible and enters the Cyril converter device, becoming part of an enormous reservoir of electrons. Inside the neodymium, Amy meets Neo, an electron from the neodymium core. These electrons are drawn to the powerful magnetic flux line penetrating the 4 layers in the Cyril design. They join together, forming a boson pair, as they spin around the magnetic force, releasing them on their pathway to freedom. As they enter the gate layer, they are compressed, feeling pressure to exit the system. At the same time, they are pulled and accelerated by the magnetic layer. Their energy continues to increase, racing through the emitter layer, joining trillions of other boson pairs that form the eddy current on the surface of plate 1. The boson pair is captured by the roller and blasted into the positively charged neodymium core of the 2nd stage plate, repeating the activity into the 3rd stage of the Cyril device. With tremendous energy, Amy and Neo are hurled forcefully into standard coils, where they are collected in the same manner as any generator of electricity. Nothing is created or destroyed. The circuit is complete. As the rollers move, they provoke electrons to migrate through the 4 layers of the plate, from the neodymium core through the gate.
Now, anybody who's done any engineering, any electrical engineering, or any type of physics knows that there's such a thing as resistance. Resistance doesn't just equate to friction, it also equates to air friction too. So these things are not perpetual motion. You would need something to help drive them. That's where you get the catalyst, and that's where you get a loss of energy. But I mean, it could possibly create a little bit of a little bit more energy than what you use to run it. I'm not for sure, to be honest. It would have to be amped up or stepped up through an electrical circuit. But let's get back to the video.
Layer, the magnetic layer, and the emitter or copper layer. This activity repeats through the rollers and the plates. Unlike conventional generators, the electrons will be moving at extremely high velocity. Conventional currents are slow currents, and they build up heat. The more current you draw, the more heat you get. This system is the opposite. The more current you draw, the colder it gets, for this reason. At the quantum level, the electrons are riding the magnetic field, not hitting the lattice of the atoms. The electrons find their path between atoms undisturbed, so they accelerate to higher and higher speeds.
Rare earth has a different function altogether. That's why we call it rare earth. It likes more electrons than other atoms want. It stores them on another band. So if you've got the surplus electrons, they're easy to take off because they want a positive target. It's going to replace that shortage from the surrounding fabric because that point's becoming a bit positive. So it will draw in electrons. It will pull more and more in than you're taking out. So the device will get colder and colder because the electrons are getting more compact. They got far less room to move. It is so cold that
Damn it,
the
SP.
material will change its state. It will become a superconductor.
Okay, if it does become a superconductor and if it does excite the electrons, you could probably get more amperage or wattage than yada yada, but you still need the catalyst to start the chain reaction, and you still have friction through air friction for this. There's also ball bearings, I'll almost guarantee, that requires mechanical friction. So, I mean, can you get at least a closed loop out of these motors? I would say yes. Can you get over unity? No. No. There is no possible way to use over unity. Actually, man, I only studied this for like, I would say about 6 hours last night because I was curious. I got to looking around at free energy videos, and then I got off on to season 9 of The Voice, like 4 episodes, and then I fell asleep, and then I was like, screw it, I'll wake back up and I'll do it, you know. Let's see. Yeah, over unity can't be achieved because of a little variable that is represented by an R. R is resistance. Resistance is friction. Resistance is air friction. Resistance is displacement of liquid. Think about it like this. Okay. Give me just a second, guys and girls. Because I am a nerd, I do have stuff laying around that I can use to demonstrate. What are you attached to? Oh, okay. You see this cable right here? Okay. Think of that cable as a hallway, and think of electrons as excitable children. Now, without a leader, which electrons don't have a leader, they just have a direction to go in, because that's where they're being told to go. Without a leader, these excitable children will wander off, and by the time the line gets to the classroom, there's going to be 3 or 4, maybe even 5 of them off in the middle of nowhere doing nothing when they're supposed to be in the classroom, right? You could call this resistance in real life and resistance for the example. Okay? Now, you get loss over distance. You get friction over distance. You're not going to get as many electrons as you put in coming out. you have a 120 line in your house. That's called 110 because it loses 20 watts going from your circuit breaker to your socket. Where do those 20 watts go? They're like excitable children. They just wander off. That's the best way I can put it. Yeah, that cord would make a better example for a gravitational wave. Because of the spiral and the twist on it, yeah, it would, honestly. Yeah. SP's been pushing for me to get into science, and I figure it wouldn't hurt to get into a little bit of it. I'm going to start up a series called Science on the Fray. I'm going to take fringe science, whether it be over unity, 0-point gravity may be, or 0-point energy may be the next one, anti-gravity may be the next one. You never know. But today was the Bedini motor and the Cyril Generator, which were supposed to both create over unity. So my main theme today was, can we get over unity from a mechanical motor? No, we cannot. The only thing that we can get close to over unity on is exotic materials. And I'll be damned if people go to splitting antimatter in their freaking cars. That I don't think that'll ever be a future. Yeah. And before somebody says, oh, antimatter is not an exotic material, an exotic material is defined by the leptide being negative, being opposite from ours, which is exotic to our universe. Dark energy and antimatter are both quantified as exotic materials. Yeah. But yeah, guys, I figured I would jump on and, well, hell, it's only been 30 minutes. Let's jump over here in the chat and see what's going on. Watching The Voice, I should pull your man card. What's this about beef jerky? Somebody making beef jerky out of Sasquatch. I always thought the reason we couldn't find Bigfoot after death was Jack Link's Jerky Company's fault. That beef jerky comes from somewhere, guys. Come on. Alligator jerky. Oh, I bet that was nice. Antimatter powered toaster ovens. No, man, no. The heat would be a bad idea. Oh, it's all good, Angel. There's going to be a little bit of lag because I've got so much going at one time. Because I've got the chat, I've got the videos, and yeah, I really need to kill that video or do something with it. What's the next one? John Verbali, SAG mock-up. SEG, Cyril Energy Generator prototype. Come on, man. Alrighty. But yeah, I figured I would show you guys some neat stuff about physics and about the over unity motors, about perpetual motors, because if you look and just look up, say, perpetual motion motor debunked for free energy, you'll see that whenever you take energy out of that closed circuit, it no longer has it to push back into the motor, and the motor dies. Okay, Tate, here's a question. Can anti-uranium be split for fission? And if it is, what kind of fallout would the bomb produce? Okay, go. Well, you would think that the only difference would be the leptide, the way that the atom spins in antimatter. So if you just put that as the only difference and then apply the actual physics of what's going on in our world to it, it would have radioactive fallout. But what's the negative spin of radioactive fallout? What effects would that have? We know that our fallout kind of destroys everything. Irradiates everything, makes everybody sick. But what would the fallout from a negative leptide do? Would it act negatively and actually help everything by producing helpful radiation instead of harmful radiation? Or would it be twice as freaking deadly because the radiation coming from it is a negative radiation? Oh yeah, you gotta give it a minute, SP. It'll catch up. Well, okay. I guess my friend thinks it's Hanukkah. He just sent me a message that says Happy Hanukkah. Is there such thing as helpful radiation? Actually, yes, 13 Sharks. Did you know that the radiation that we receive through the sun, ultraviolet, also carries vitamin D with it? It also carries quite a few nutrients. The reason that humans develop skin, the reason any animal develops skin, was as a protection against radiation. Then we went a little farther into being able to absorb certain things out of the radiation to help us. A little bit of sunlight every day will, I guarantee you, will improve your health over time. Okay. Let's see. Oh, yeah, interesting thing. There's a radiation chart. You can look it up. Did you know that just sleeping beside of someone will give you radiation? You will receive so much radiation just sleeping beside of someone. So, I mean, we are energy. Free energy will cause it to shut down. What are you talking about here, Angel Hook? Your sentence structure is a little off. I'm not getting it. Are you talking about the shutdown of electric companies when we develop free energy, or are you talking about when we get energy from a closed loop that I was referring to earlier? Would it be free? No, it would cause the closed loop to be empty because you just opened the loop for the contaminant to spill out. Well, I can't really say contaminant, but the contained source to spill out, because contaminant sounds like evil. Why is it so hot up there, Brown? Now what's going on here? Absolutely, the human body needs a certain amount of radiation to live, heat and sunlight, or radiation. Yeah. No, it would destroy everything in the atmosphere. The theory of white holes. Oh, 13 sharks can fly. The theory of white holes. I like that one. The theory of white holes. Just think of the opposite of black holes. Instead of condensing mass to a critical point, it creates mass. It expands mass, and then it spits it out. Dear Brother Potato, can we discuss the way radiation is measured in rads and how many rads are dangerous for the human genome before the genetic mutation occurs? Ah. Well, I'd have to pull up a chart on that one because I'm not for sure, SP, but there is a certain amount of rads. And right here would be the picture, the radiation dose chart. And once we get into it, okay, this is a chart of sources, blah blah blah. SV is measured in effective cell of the body. One servient all at once will make you sick, and too many will kill you. But we can safely absorb so many amounts of servients of natural radiation daily. Number of servients absorbed in a shorter time will generate and cause damage. Hell yeah, wife just brought you a 12-pack. 1 rad per year, any more that is dangerous. Yeah, I'm looking at, instead of rads, this radiation dose chart uses servients for some reason. And the servients, you can absorb a large amount of servients. No, I take that back. 50 servients is equal to the Chernobyl reactor right after the explosion and meltdown. So that would be completely bad. That would not be a good thing, because you'd have one servient will start cellular deterioration. Geiger counter calls it rads. Yeah, they do. They call it rads. But the radiation dose chart, if you look it up, it's got sleeping next to someone, and then it's got the little U symbol, which I'm not for sure what that stands for in this, but it should be like a division of by so much, so it'd be like a portion of a rad or a portion of a servient. Excuse me. But sleeping next to someone is 0.05 USV. Okay. Living within 50 miles of a nuclear power plant for a year, 0.09 USV. Eating a banana, 0.1 USV. So a banana has radiation in it, dude. I can't wait for CERN's opening portals thing to backfire and they all get wrecked, occultic scientist from CERN. Oh man, Wife just brought me a 12-pack. Hell yeah, Roland. Geiger counter calls it rads. Yep. You need a serve to rad conversion table. Yep, that would be a good idea. Who wants to talk about Nephilim? Nephilim, red-headed giants with 6 fingers that were the spawn of angels and humans. I mean, I can do it if you want to hear about it. Honestly, you know what I think the Nephilim were? Okay, we know what radiation does to the human genome. It causes it to mutate. Okay. So, bear with me. I'm getting to it. Radiation causes mutation. Now, if there was such a thing as ancient astronauts, these guys would be irradiated with a whole lot of radiation, traveling through the gamma belt, getting out there with the solar radiation. You've got ambient radiation from just different planets. Oh man, it's crazy. So if the angels were the ancient astronauts and they bred with humans, you're already going to have a cross-contamination because you have 2 different species. But you add in the radiation too? And a strange thing that I've thought about. People disclaim, and a lot of people don't believe that Neanderthal bred into Homo sapien. But Neanderthal's genetic DNA, the chromosomes, were messed up. They were more than what they should be, and they had mutations. Yada yada. So could Neanderthals have been the ancient astronauts that bred with humans and created Nephilim? Could this be the account that it's talking about? Just something to put forward there. I mean, it could be total BS. You never know, man. You honestly never know. But I figured I'd throw that out there. But yeah, the Nephilim, they're a mutation. They're an abomination, whatever you want to call it. But yeah, giant, red-headed, which you know that red hair itself is a mutation. Because normally you only have black or blonde. Yeah. I think it was like blue eyes is a mutation, or was it green eyes? I'm not for sure. And then you get into some other strange stuff like extra fingers and extra toes. Once you get past that, and the extra fingers, extra toes, red hair, sounds like a genetic mutation to me. That sounds, yeah. Well, a hybrid is kind of a mutant. I mean, you're pretty much destroying the DNA of the original copy. No 13 sharks. Gingers still have souls, man. Quit that. Calm down. Relax. Oh, man. But yeah, I've been prattling on for, I guess, about 50 minutes here. It's nice to see that you guys came over. And I'm not for sure what else I can say about the Nephilim, honestly. I mean, I've got hints of red in my hair, and I'm a lefty, so we need to discuss genetics and what mutation is, homie. Mutation is a corruption of the genetics. genetics can be corrupted by interbreeding species. At least I would think they could. I mean, that's how you get a founder's mutation. That's how you get a liger from a lion and a tiger, and that's how you get a donkey from a horse and a jackass. Or a jackass from a horse and a donkey. I may be wrong. A hybrid is not a mutation. A hybrid is a founder's mutation, ain't it? No, it's just a hybrid. My bad. Carry on. Like with a grapefruit? Oh, dude, if you mix a grapefruit into some type of animal, that's just genetic splicing, dude. That's not a mutation. That's an intentional corruption. Well, thank you, SP. But I do believe we are right at an hour, so I'm going to go ahead and cut it because the original thing was supposed to be the Bedini and the Cyril motor / generator for a closed loop, or a, what's the name of it right off the bat? Perpetual motion machine, there we go. Which is a closed loop, that's all it is. And then you get over unity, which people are confusing for perpetual motion. A closed loop is a closed loop. You can't get more than what's already in it to come out of it without losing something. Okay. So free energy, I don't think so at this point. I mixed the grapefruit into my orange juice. Mutant breakfast. I love it. Oh man. Maybe you'll turn into Toxic Avenger SP. But yeah, I mean, you can't get more out than what you put in. That's not a thing. Even with everyday life, when you go to work, you only get a fraction out of what you put in for work. Literally. I mean, you'll put in 10 times the amount of work that you actually should be doing just to do one thing, and this is because of resistance, friction, air resistance, etc., etc. But you're putting in 100%, you're only getting out about, I'd say, 40% efficiency. That's normally how it goes, about 40 to 48 efficiency. Yeah. But I'm going to jump on off here. It's been an hour and this room is sweltering, and my eyes, my hair's trying to push my eyes closed for some reason. But yeah, I'll see you guys in the next stream.